Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Paramagurubhyo Namaha, Asmat Sarva Gurubhyo Namaha. My respectful obeisances to all my teachers. So we're continuing on with Hari Bhakti Vilas, fifth Vilas. And last time we finished all of the different nyasas. So we've come up to the beginning of another section, which has to do with mudras. So text 166 and 167 deal with 5 kinds of mudras. Now mudras are, the word mudra in Sanskrit can mean a seal or a stamp, but it could also mean, in this case, what it means is it means different intertwining of the fingers and the hands in order to show a particular thing. We would call them hand gestures. So we use different hand gestures to indicate different things. Just like when we're talking, we might use a particular hand gesture. We might move our hands in certain ways, and certain hand gestures mean certain things. Like for instance, it's very common that if we put a hand up like this, it means stop. If we put a hand like this, it means things are good. Or actually in scuba, it means go up, go down. If we say like this in America, it means okay. There's different hand gestures around the world which have been used, or gestures that are used around the world. Now in India, in Indian culture, they have different mudras. In Bharatanatyam and other forms of Indian dance, there are movements of the eyes, there are movements of the body, and movements of the face, which mean things. And they also have movements of the hands, which mean different things. Those mudras that they use, the hand movements that they use in Bharatanatyam, tend to be bigger because they have to be seen from an audience than the mudras that we use in rituals. So the mudras that we use in rituals, there are different mudras, sets of mudras that are used in Vaishnava rituals, and there are different mudras that are used in Shakta and Shaiva rituals. And of course, those are told about in the agamas, the Shaiva and Shakta agamas. Here we're going to be introduced to certain mudras. So let's see what they are. Here it says 5 kinds of mudras, 5 kinds of hand gestures. And I can give you another example of a hand gesture. If I say a hand gesture, normally a mudra goes along with a mantra. So a mantra and a mudra go together many times. So, for instance, if you have a servant like a waiter or a butler or something like that, and he invites you to dinner, he may say, "Dinner is served," and he may indicate with his hand, "Please come and sit," like that to a guest. So this is the sort of thing that we do in the worship of the deity. Is considered to be like the worship of a king, or the attendance on a king in the temple, or the attendance on a guest in a house, a house guest. And so we not only use the name of the guest or the name of the king, which is the Mula Mantra when we worship the deity, the root mantra, but we also use other mantras to indicate the service that we're offering to the deity. And more about this later. And then we use also mudras along with the name of the deity, or the name of the deity, and the Mula Mantra of the deity, and the way of addressing the deity, and with the names of the services or the way of addressing and offering different services. Along with that, we can also use mudras. So here we have 5 mudras. So it says here, the devotee should then display, and this is after we just finished another round of nyasas, right? There was a lot of nyasas that we just had to perform. It should then display 5 enchanting mudras. These are Venu. Venu means a flute. Varnamala, which means a garland, right? Actually means a garland of forest leaves and flowers. Srivatsa, which is the hair or the mole on the right side of Lord Vishnu's chest, which indicates the goddess Lakshmi, the Sri Devi. Kostuba, which is the gem, which he wears a necklace around his neck. Lord Vishnu wears a necklace around his neck, and there's a great big gem, which is the crest jewel, the main jewel in that necklace that hangs in the middle. That is called the Kostuba. It's like a blue sapphire, normally. And Bilva. Here it's mentioned Bilva, but of course the Bengalis not having two separate letters for B and V. So sometimes we have V and sometimes we have B given in the transliteration. So the word is actually Bilva. Bilva is a fruit, and it's a fruit of the Baal tree. There's a Bilva vriksha, or a tree, which is sacred to the leaves of the tree are used, like Tulsi leaves are used in Vishnu Puja. The leaves of the Bilva tree are used in Shiva worship, or in the worship of Shiva lingams, or Shiva in general. And the fruit of the Bilva tree, which is called a Baal fruit, which if you break it open, you can make a sort of juice from it that tastes almost like apricot juice. That Bilva fruit is sacred to Lakshmi, and is even mentioned in the Sri Suktam. The Sri Suktam is a prayer to Lakshmi that comes in an appendix to the fifth mandala of the Rig Veda. So the Rig Veda has 10 mandalas, or it can be divided into astakas and mandalas. But if we divide it into mandalas, there are 10, and the fifth one has several of them have some appendices, and this one appendix to the fifth mandala of the Rig Veda has got a sukta, or a prayer or a hymn to goddess Lakshmi or Sri Devi, which is called Sri Sukta. One verse in that is Adityavane tapaso vijato vanaspatis tava vriksho. Vriksho means vrikshaha means tree, and bilvaha. Vriksho to bilvaha. So vriksha means tree, and bilvaha means this particular type of Baal tree. I don't know the Latin name, the scientific name for the tree, but in any case, we can look it up. But this is the mudra for the bilvaha fruit, for the fruit of that tree. And now, previously, we had it's actually quite similar. This Bilva Mudra is quite similar, I believe, to the Kacha Karakachapika Mudra, which we talked about previously. We had a mudra before. I think the only other mudra that we discussed before was the Karakachapika Mudra, which looks like the back of a tortoise, which was in the section on Buddha Shuddhi, which we've already covered. Okay, so anyhow, this is the Bilva mantra. So once again, flute, flower garland, chest hair or chest mold, Kostuba gem, and Bilva fruit. These are the 5 mudras, which are considered the Pancha mudras, which are then shown. Obviously, we are using the Gopal mantra, the 18-syllable Gopal mantra, to worship Lord Krishna. So because we're doing the worship of Lord Krishna, one would expect some of these mudras. We would expect the Venu Mudra, which is the flute, because Lord Krishna, of course, has a flute, is famous for playing the flute. And Varnamala, Srivatsa, Kostuba, and Bilva. Bilva, I'm not sure, maybe a fruit in Vrindavan, but apart from that, the Varnamala, Srivatsa, and Kostuba, these mudras would probably be common to other Vishnu deities, or even any other deities, except for the Srivatsa. Srivatsa would be specifically for Vishnu. Okay, but Srivatsa and Kostuba are specifically for Vishnu. The Varnamala, of course, many deities will wear garlands. All right, so anyway, so first of all, he shows these. I'll show you in a minute. I'll show you these different mudras. But for right now, let's finish this particular sloka and explain what is done. So first of all, the mudras are shown, right? We show those before the deity. So then after doing so, he should secure the directions. Securing the directions, when we were discussing about nyasas, and we were discussing about digbandha, meaning closing the different directions. So normally you snap the fingers clockwise over the head, or you do a particular type of mudra with the right hand over the head in the clockwise direction, and that seals the directions. And it's like a force field that keeps unwanted, subtle and gross influences from disturbing you while you do the puja. And again, sometimes at the end of doing worship or the end of doing japa or something like that, whenever we do this, we close the directions. We then do another process called dig vimokaha, where we open up the directions, and after we finish doing the things. So it says here, he should display. So he should secure the directions by chanting Om Namo Sudarshanaya Astraya Pat. So Astraya Pat is a weapon mantra. Astraya means weapon, and Sudarshana is the weapon of Lord Vishnu. Well, one of the weapons. He actually has several weapons. This very famous stotra called Panchayuda Stotra, where it describes the five main weapons of Vishnu, which are sword, the Sudarshana, the Panchajanya conch, Sudarshana chakra, the Panchajanya conch, the mace, the sword, and the bow. And bow means, when we talk about bow, we mean the bow and the arrows. So this is called the Pancha Ayudas. So Ayuda means weapons. So Pancha means five. So here we have this Sudarshana mentioned. This is the main weapon of Lord Vishnu. And we see Vishnu deities normally they have at least 4 arms. They can have many arms, but if they have at least 4 arms, they carry normally in the top right and left hands, the Sudarshana chakra and the Panchajanya conch. Okay, so Om Namo, obviously, offer my obeisances unto Sudarshana, the weapon of the Lord. Pat is just a normal ending to a mantra that includes astraya. So we've encountered this before. Sometimes when we sprinkle things, we say Mahastraya Pat or Omastraya Pat. And I believe that there was a Vigna Nivarnam that we did before we came in, where we stamped the right foot on the ground, and we also mentioned this Astraya Pat. But here we're saying Om Namo Sudarshanaya Astraya Pat. Okay, so then after that, therefore, he should then display the Kara Kachapika Mudra, which I said mimics the back, the shell of a tortoise or a turtle, and meditate upon the Supreme Lord. Now, the meditation on the Supreme Lord is very long. It can be shortened also, abbreviated, but we're going to look at the meditation in a minute. First, before that, let's look at these 5 mudras. So here we have a picture of someone doing the Venu Mudra. So you can see off to the right side of his body, right? He's first of all holding up the left palm and then the right palm, and he's connecting the little finger of the left hand to the thumb of the right hand, and holding 3 fingers down on both palms, and then holding the left thumb close to the mouth, where it looks like it looks as though he's playing a flute. So this is called Venu Mudra. Okay, so that's the first one to be shown. The second mudra. So what was it? Second mudra. Here I found a picture of this placing of the hands together down like this is called Varnamala. Now there are other ways of forming the Varnamala mudra, and there are lots and lots of mudras that are mentioned in Hari Bhakti Vilasa. In the commentary by Sanatana Goswami, he gives the slokas in Sanskrit that explain and probably these slokas may also be chanted along with the showing of the mudras, but they have at least they have the slokas that explain exactly how to entwine the fingers and to make these particular mudras. Here I've just taken a picture of a Varnamala Mudra, which came from another book. I'm not sure whether it came from a Gaudiya book or it could have come from a book which I have called Communication with God, which is about Gaudiya Puja, especially the worship of Lord Jagannath in Puri. Or it could have also come from Padma Samhita, which is Pancharatra Agama. But in any case, Varnamala can also be done in another way. And so we have to look at Hari Bhakti Vilasa, and we have to look, anybody who's interested in learning all these mudras, we have to look at the descriptions and try to work out from the Sanskrit descriptions exactly how to do them. Most of the mudras have been in disuse amongst most Gaudiya Vaishnavas. We see a few mudras which are used by the Radharaman Goswamis, but that's probably all. So most mudras are not being used by Gaudiya Vaishnavas, and therefore, if you ask Gaudiya Vaishnavas in India, they don't know how to do these things. I have presented the Sanskrit of the different mudras to different people in South India, different bhattas in South India. Last time I did that was, I think 2 years ago in India, when I discussed this whole scenario of all these different mudras in Hari Bhakti Vilasa with a person called Vinay Bhatta in Mysore. And I do have some research work which I have yet to compile and to edit about that. So if people are interested, he went through the Sanskrit. He showed some mudras, but he wasn't quite sure exactly how they're done because it's a little bit technical. So anyhow, so we can discuss this exactly how to do the Varnamala. It's not as with many of these mudras, we're not quite sure exactly how they're done. Srivatsa Mudra can be done in different ways. Another way that some people show Srivatsa Mudra, the Pancharachans show the Srivatsa Mudra is like this, which is also got some other names like Yamagrantha or whatever, which is used in the noon Sandhyavandana for observing the sun in the Gayatri Upasthanam section of noon Sandhyavandana, Madhyanika noon Sandhyavandanam. But anyhow, the Srivatsa can be made like this. This is I think most of these pictures are coming from that book, the Gaudiya book, Communication with God. Okay, so then the third mudra, where are we up to? It's the fourth mudra. Fourth mudra would be here. We can see this is one coming from the edition of Padma Samhita. So this is Srivatsa. This is another one. Srivatsa would simply be Anjali Mudra over on the right side of the chest, indicating where the Srivatsa is. So that's another form of Srivatsa. Kostuba Mudra. Kostuba Mudra seems to be the little fingers and middle fingers of the two hands, with the hands pressed together, the thumbs together, and the little finger and the middle finger is extended and the other fingers curled down. That is the Kostuba Mudra. And then continuing on, we have here another version of the Kostuba Mudra, which almost looks like, in some other cases, Yada Mudra, but anyway, Club Mudra, but anyway, let's look at it. Kostuba Mudra, where only the four fingers are touching, and the rest of the fingers are curled together, and the palms together, and the thumbs are crossed over on the top. It's another form of Kostuba. Here we have another version of the Kostuba, right? Where the Kostuba would be, the Varnamala would be on the right side. On the left side, the Kostuba would be there. But actually, sometimes we consider the Kostubas on the left side if the Srivatsa is on the right side. But actually, the Kostuba is normally in the middle. So but if we simply put our hands together in a Anjali form in the middle, that's not a Kostuba Mudra. We can see here also that the little fingers seem to be crossed, even though the other fingers are held together. Okay, so continuing on, that's another form of Kostuba. And these mudras are usually taught by the guru, the teacher, person who teaches the disciple how to student how to do the worship. Then he will teach these mudras. Okay, so now we have another example here. This again is an illustration from Communication with God. If any people want that particular book, they can also get in touch with me, and I think I've got most of it scanned. I can give it to them. Okay, so it looks like the right hand is the thumb of the left hand is being held by the right hand, and some of the fingers the fingers of the right hand are touching the thumb. So in some way it looks like a type of fruit, guava fruit. Exactly not sure. We have to look up the exact Sanskrit description of the mudra and try to work it out exactly. And then here is the mudra for doing the Agni Prakar, or for closing the Digbandha, for closing the directions around the body, right? So this is called Digbandhana, right? And finally, this is again the Karakachapika Mudra, which we have already learned for Buddha Shuddhi. In the beginning of Buddha Shuddhi, we do this particular the hands, the four fingers are folded over the back of the palms of each hand, with the two palms pressed together, and the two thumbs are connected together. Okay, so these are the five mudras, the one mudra for closing the directions, and the last mudra after that, which have to be shown in that order. Okay, so let's go back to the text. Right. So after doing that, right, then it says here, meditate upon the Supreme Lord. Now, exactly what form you meditate on the Supreme Lord has to be in concert with the form that you're worshiping in the deity, and the form which you're meditating upon in your heart, which is being worshipped in the deity. So here we have the process of meditating on Nanda Nandana, the son of Nanda, Sri Krishna, the son of Nanda, the Supreme Lord. So first one should meditate. This is continuing on with text 168, with Vilasa of Hari Bhakti Vilasa. First one should meditate on the land of Vrindavan with a pure heart, because the abode of Vrindavan is full of auspicious trees. It is most enchanting and soothing to the heart and mind. The branches of these trees are permeated with a sweet aroma. They are filled with blooming flowers which shower nectar, and they bend down due to the burden of newly grown twigs and leaves. The transcendental trees are embraced by creepers that with their freshly grown buds and flowers. So the idea is there's a description of Vrindavan here. Now, this is a dhyanam or a meditation. So the point is to understand the meaning of these slokas and to meditate upon that Sri Krishna as being in the land of Vrindavan, right? So normally what happens when we have a dhyana mantra is we chant the Sanskrit of the mantra, keeping in our minds the meaning of the mantra, and that invokes the meaning of the image in our minds. Okay, so that's the process. So the process is to chant out loud the mantra, the dhyana mantra, and to meditate on the meaning within our mind. Okay, so let's continue on. There's many descriptions here, so we'll just go one after the other. Text 169. Bumblebees hover over the flowers, relishing their honey. The entire Vrindavan forest is permeated with the sweet sound of humming bees. The male and female pigeons and parrots, parrots, and cuckoos, they always sing very sweetly. The peacocks dance while spreading their wings. Text 170. In Vrindavan, cool breezes always blow, carrying particles of water from the waves of the Yamuna River. The breeze has become gray due to it being mixed with the pollen of lotus flowers. It flutters the garments of the gopis, who are agitated by lusty desires to satisfy Krishna. Text 171. One should then meditate on the desire trees in Vrindavan. The fresh twigs of the desire trees can be compared to coral. The leaves can be compared to the blue sapphire. The buds can be compared to diamonds and pearls, and the fruit can be compared to rubies. These desire trees are tall and strong, and they fulfill the desires of everyone. All of the seasons are eternally present in Vrindavan, and that is why all kinds of seasonal flowers are continually available. Okay, so here is a description of desire trees. A desire tree is a tree that you make a wish, and the tree will grant that wish. So the analogy is like the tree. Trees give us fruits and flowers. So whatever fruit you want, whether it be just an ordinary type of fruit, or whether it be the fruit of anything, of any activity or whatever it is, you can desire from this tree. Okay, and here the trees, although Vrindavan is a pastoral place, is a village, sort of a jungly sort of place. Here, all the flowers and the buds and the trees and everything and the fruits are considered to be like precious gems, like sapphires and coral and diamonds and pearls and rubies. Okay, so we should be thinking like that. A sober devotee should give up all lethargy and begin to meditate on the transcendental land of Vrindavan, which is made of Chintamani Stone. Chintamani Stone also, again, is a type of wish-fulfilling stone. And specifically, it's mentioned that it's like a type of, in Europe, they used to call a thing a philosopher's stone. An alchemist used to have a particular stone that they would touch to things, and it would turn that thing into gold. It would turn lead into gold. So Chintamani Stone is a wish-fulfilling stone, or a wish-fulfilling gem. The land of Vrindavan, so the whole of Vrindavan, the whole of spiritual world, which is conceived of as Vrindavan because Krishna is in it, is conceived of as wish-fulfilling. So the land of Vrindavan is as brilliant as the rising sun, and it is decorated with gold columns, jewels, and raised platforms. The entire scene sparkles because of the pollen that has fallen from the trees. There is no place in Vrindavan for the 6 waves of the material ocean: hunger, thirst, lamentation, illusion, old age, and death. They are not there. So this description of Vrindavan is the place of Lord Krishna. There are 2 concepts of Vrindavan. There's the Gokula Vrindavan, which is here in this material world, which is the pastimes of Krishna when he comes to this material world. And then there is the concept of Goloka Vrindavan, which is the heaven or the Vaikuntha idea, the Vaikuntha or Paramapada, the highest spiritual place of the worshippers of Lord Krishna, like that, where Lord Krishna is in the spiritual world. So that is called Goloka Vrindavan. Okay, so continue on with text 173. One should then meditate on an excellent throne that is placed upon a raised platform bedecked with jewels. So we have this forest of Vrindavan, jeweled forest of Vrindavan. Within that, there are these raised platforms. There's this one raised platform right in the middle, which is a jeweled platform, like a pavilion or a pergola. And within that, there is a throne. On that throne is a red lotus flower with 8 petals. So in the pillows or the base of the throne, the seat of the throne is made, it looks like a lotus flower, a red lotus flower. There are different colored lotus flowers. This is a red lotus flower is being imagined with 8 petals. Very many times lotus flowers are considered to have 8 petals. So next, one should meditate upon how Sri Krishna joyfully sits in the middle of that lotus, appearing like the rising sun. So many times when we see this red lotus, in the middle of the red lotus, there's the stamens, and the middle part of the lotus is sometimes yellow. So just like the rising sun in the middle of the lotus. His complexion is the color of a blue sapphire, right? So his bodily color is like that of a blue sapphire. He is anointed with black ointment so that he appears like a dark monsoon cloud or a fresh blue lotus flower. His curly hair is black and glossy. His crown is adorned with peacock feathers. He is decorated with a garland of forest flowers around which bumblebees constantly hover. His earrings are made of newly grown grass. His earrings are made of newly grown leaves, so just fresh leaves. His forehead, which is beautified by his restless curly hair, is decorated with marks of tilak made of gorochana. Gorochana is a very, very light yellow, or it could be a more deeper golden yellow substance, which is made from by coloring clay, or it's colored with the cow urine. Okay, so he has a very bright yellow tilak. His eyebrows are like 2 dancing creepers. So continuing on, text 176. His lotus face is spotless like the full moon in autumn, and it is very pleasing. His eyes are expanded like lotus leaves. His cheeks shine due to the reflection of the gems in his fish-shaped earrings. So the earrings are called makara kundala. Makara is a particular type of fish. We're not exactly sure about exactly. Sometimes it's described that this is a shark. They're shark-shaped earrings. But makara, in this sense, it was just translated here as fish-shaped earrings. Now we see many times that they make earrings for deities that look like fish-shaped. His nose is raised and charming. Text 177. His lower lip is more beautiful than sindur or vermilion. So kumkum or sindur or vermilion powder is a reddish color. So the lips of the Lord are a bright red. They're very beautiful. His entire body appears white, like moonlight. So brilliant. Although his bodily complexion is like a monsoon cloud or like a blue lotus, still his body is brilliant. So here it's mentioned in white. Like moonlight, kunda flowers and mandara flowers. I'm not exactly sure what those 2 flowers are. Maybe we can look it up in the Sanskrit dictionary sometime, but if anybody's interested. We're going to hear a lot more about flowers, different types of flowers which are used in the worship of the Lord, or which are not, or which are rejected for the worship of the Lord. In chapter 7 or the last 7 of Hari Bhakti Vilasa is all about the different flowers and leaves that we use in worship. So that'll also come later on. His face is decorated with his enchanting smile. His conch-like throat, sometimes the throat is in Sanskrit literature is described to be like a conch because it has 3 lines in it, like a conch. If you ever see a conch, it has like within the whirl of a conch there are 3 lines. So his conch-like throat is decorated with ornaments made of freshly grown twigs and flowers. 178. His shoulders are restless. He is decorated with a flower garland that hangs down to his knees. So this is an interesting detail. There are different types of garlands made of different flowers, different types of leaves, and they're also different lengths. While we're at it, we were talking about the Venu Mudra, the flute mudra. Krishna also has different types of flutes made of different materials and also different lengths. And the different lengths of Krishna's flute means the flute is known by different Sanskrit names. There are many different synonyms for the word flute, and the different names for the different flutes indicate the length of the flute, normally the different length of the flute. Okay, so he's decorated with a flower garland that hangs down to his knees. So garlands can be short, they can be long. Usually if it hangs down to your knees, that's a pretty long garland. So he wears necklaces that resemble shining stars. His sky-like chest is beautified by the effulgence of the sun in the form of the charming Kostuba gem. So that again, that on his necklace, the crest jewel of his necklace is got this big blue sapphire on it, which is called the Kostuba gem. Text 179 and 180. He looks most attractive because of the marks of Srivatsa on his chest, on the right side of his chest. That mark which indicates Lakshmi. And also shows us that he is the Supreme Lord, because only the Supreme Lord Vishnu or Krishna has this Srivatsa marking. Even when devotees can attain moksha or liberation, there are different types of moksha, and one type of moksha is called Swarupya. Swarupya moksha, when you get Swarupya moksha, you get a bodily form which is just like the Supreme Lord. But even those persons do not have this Srivatsa. They do not have this this particular mark on the right side of the chest, which is only there with Lord Krishna or Vishnu. So his Srivatsa on his chest. His shoulders are high, and his strong and beautiful arms reach to his knees. This is also considered, there are different bodily features which are considered auspicious in different personalities. And many times it's described that when your arms reach down to your knees, that's considered to be auspicious. His abdomen is broad and his navel is deep. Deep navel is also considered auspicious. The hair on his body resembles rows of bumblebees. The golden thread with which his armlets, bangles, rings, necklaces, anklets, and waistband are made is bedecked with jewels. So he has all of these different ornaments on his arms, on his wrists, on his fingers, around his neck, around his ankles, and around his waist. His body is decorated with colorful paint. Right, so he has some type of cosmetic paint also decorating his body. Sometimes we see this with different deities. We see that they paint the face, especially, or different parts of the hands. This is common in Indian culture. They do a type of temporary tattoo, which is or marking of the hands, the feet, sometimes on the face, with a substance called mendi, especially in North India. His hips are covered with fine yellow garments. So again, Lord Vishnu and Lord Krishna normally are described as pitambara. Pitambara, pita means yellow or yellow or golden, and ambara means cloth. So wearing a outer cloth of fine yellow or golden garments. Text 181. His thighs and knees are most attractive, and his hips are broad and beautiful. His toes are raised, and their effulgence defeats the beauty of Kamadev. Kurma. His toes are raised, and the effulgence defeats the beauty of Kamadev. Somehow or other, his his toes. Kamadev means the tortoise incarnation of the Lord, turtle incarnation of the Lord, and it's being described here. So his toenails shine more brightly than diamonds and pearls. So the sparkling toenails, and his lotus-like feet are beautified by his lotus-like feet are beautified by tender leaves in the form of toenails adorned with jewels. Text 182. There are many auspicious marks on the soles of his lotus feet. Now, Lord Krishna many times stands in what's called a tribhanga, or a threefold bending form. When he stands in that form, one of his feet is crossed over the other, and you're able to see the sole of one of his feet. So when you see the sole of his feet, it's marked with different auspicious symbols. The other foot is normally placed flat on the ground, so you can't, you can't see that like that. But if you were to see a deity of Krishna, where both feet or the soles of both feet were observable, then you would see these particular. You have to meditate upon these particular auspicious markings on the soles of his feet. So there are many auspicious marks on the soles of his lotus feet and lotus palms, and also on his hands, like that. Normally in South India, the deities do not have lines on the hands. Lines on the hands in the science of astrology in India, lines on the hands are called hastareka, and hastareka indicates karma, that the particular being has karma, right? So deities don't normally have. Now maybe in North India they paint lines on the hands of deities to make them look more human-like. But in South India, you just see a diamond shape or a flower shape symbol, which is put on the hand of the deity, especially also the small festival metal deities, but also the main stone deities. They're carved in such a way as they have this diamond-shaped flower symbol on the hands. So we don't see lines on the hands. Instead, we see these sort of auspicious markings. So what are some of these markings that are on the hands, the palms, and the soles of the feet of the Lord? These are a fish, anchor, disc, conch, flag, barley, lotus, and a thunderbolt. Because of these symbols, his beauty is increased dramatically. The beauty of his body, which is the embodiment of transcendental bliss, defeats the beauty of Kamadev. Now, Kamadev is considered to also be a separate devata. He's considered to be a separate demigod, but also the and in English we would call him Cupid, right? And he rides on a parrot, and he has a sugar cane for a bow. He has a bow made of sugar cane, and he has these arrows, he has 5 arrows, which are flowers, right? And the bow, the sugarcane bow, has a string which is made of bumblebees. Okay, so and that he shoots arrows into the hearts of people and makes them fall in love with others. So that is Cupid. So there is a devata or a demigod called Cupid, but also the Supreme Lord, the Lord Krishna, because he's Krishna. The word Krishna means all attractive. So because he's all attractive, he's also considered to be the transcendental Kamadev. So here he is being compared to Kamadev. And in fact, we have this Kamadev Gayatri. We have a Gayatri mantra which describes Kamadev, which can be used for the demigod Kamadev, right? The devata Kamadev or Cupid, and is also specifically used for Lord Krishna, right? So and it describes Pushpa Banaya. He has flower. He has arrows made of flowers. He has anyway, he has he has also no body, which is interesting, no limbs, which can be interpreted in different ways. By saying he has no limbs, it can mean he has no material limbs, but it can also mean that he has spiritual limbs. But in the pastime of the demigod Kamadev, he tried to wake up Lord Shiva from meditation, and Lord Shiva opened his third eye and burned his body to ashes. So that's why he's called Ananga, one who has no limbs, because they were burned up by Shiva. Okay, so anyway, that's about Kamadev. So Lord Krishna here is being compared to Kamadev. Continuing on, Sri Krishna is the ocean of unlimited pleasure. He plays his flute while moving his fingers over the holes. The enchanting melodies created by his flute attracts the hearts of all living entities, including the animals and their offspring. He is surrounded by the cows, who walk slowly due to the burden of their udders. So these cows have got milk bags or udders which are full of milk. Because of the attention and vision of the cow, because the attention and vision of the cows are fixed on the lotus face of Sri Krishna, so his face is compared to a lotus, the grass that they are chewing remains stationary within their mouths. So they're stunned. These cows are looking at Lord Krishna's beauty and they're stunned. So even though cows are normally chewing on grass, their mouths are motionless. They're not actually chewing. So they've got grass in their mouths and they want to eat the grass, but because of the beauty of Krishna, they're stunned and they stop moving. So text 185, the newborn calves are surrounded, the newborn calves have surrounded Krishna. So normally the calves will surround the cows, the baby cows, the baby calves, right? They will surround their mothers. They will naturally have affection for their mothers. But here we see they're surrounding Krishna. So they have even more affection for the Lord. They are standing still because they have forgotten to drink their mother's milk. Now, the calf is very eager to drink the mother's milk. So even the mother cows have stopped chewing the grass, and the calves have stopped thinking about suckling from the mothers to getting milk from the mothers. They are all stunned by the beauty of Lord Krishna. As a result, their mouths remain filled with foam and milk. So they were suckling from their mothers, they were nursing from their mothers, but they have also become stunned, and so by the beauty of Lord Krishna. This has created a wonderful sight, and the calves relish the sweet and enchanting sound of Krishna's flute with undivided attention. So this is a really great scene. Text 186. Healthy grown-up male and female calves have also gathered around Sri Krishna. So not only the baby calves who are still suckling from their mothers, but also the grown-up young cows and calves, right? They are also gathering around Sri Krishna. Their tails are raised, and their throats look very beautiful. They have started growing small horns, right? So these adolescent cows and calves. As they approach Krishna, they playfully nudge one another, right? So because they all want to be so close to the Lord is so beautiful, each one of them wants to be close to him, and so they're pushing each other out of the way to try to get as close as possible to the Lord. As they approach Krishna, they playfully nudge one another, right? As a result, they have become restless and are running here and there. Text 187. Behind them, there are many large bulls that are burdened by their massive humps. So this is the particular type of cow and bull that you have in India, has this particular hump on the back. It may not be seen in some other types of cows, especially the Western types of cows, but in India, that type of Brahman bull, has a hump on the back. They are lowing loudly in all directions as they gather around Sri Krishna. So they're making loud noises as they gather around Lord Krishna, because their ears are filled with the nectarian sound of Krishna's flute. Their nostrils appear open and raised. So when bulls get agitated, and they're agitated by the beauty of Lord Krishna like that, their nostrils flare and are open and raised. Text 188. The cowherd boyfriends of Sri Krishna are slowly coming closer to him from all sides. Their dress, behavior, and qualities are similar to that of Krishna. So Krishna has these cowherd boyfriends, and they're coming towards him. They're coming around him also because they're attracted by him also. And they look very similar to him. They play on their flutes and other musical instruments softly, sweetly, and melodiously. They sing together melodiously with full attention, and they dance in an attractive manner while placing their arms on one another's shoulders. Text 189. He is surrounded by younger cowherd boys who speak indistinctly yet sweetly. A sweet sound is created by the tinkling of the bells on their waistbands. All of them are decorated with ornaments and necklaces made of tiger nails, tiger's claws. Like they have tiger claw ornaments and necklaces. Text 190. The enchanting damsels of Braja, this is the gopis, are engaged in his service with full attention. They walk slowly because of the heavy burden of their large hips, and are bent forward due to the burden of their heavy breasts. Hair around the three lines of their abdomen enhance their beauty. Text 191. The tree of the gopis' transcendental lust is fully grown due to being watered by the nectarian sound of Krishna's enchanting flute. Their creeper-like bodies appear extremely attractive because of the soft bodily hair, which is compared to the tender buds of those creepers. Text 192. The attachment of the gopis has swollen like the ocean because of moonlight in the form of the enchanting smile of the son of Nanda. Okay, so the illusion here, the poetic illusion here, is to the tide. The tide is controlled by the movements of the moon. So the moon has a gravitational effect upon the ocean, and it makes the ocean wax and wane. It makes the ocean become more full and go up and down, and this is called tide, right? So the gopis are swelling with like the ocean. They're becoming full of this by the enchanting smile of Lord Krishna, which appears like moonlight. The drops of perspiration on their bodies due to hard labor appear exactly like the drops of water in the waves of the ocean of attachment. So that their attachment to Krishna is compared to an ocean, and the sweat on their bodies because they're feeling trepidation. They're feeling some transcendental emotions, and they're sweating, and that is considered to be like the waves of this ocean of attachment to Krishna. It's a very, very, very nice description. Text 193. The hearts of the young gopis have been pierced by sharp arrows in the form of Krishna's sidelong glances, shot from the bow of his beautiful face. So here his face is compared to the bow, and his eyes are shooting sidelong glances, just like a bow shooting arrows into the hearts of the gopis. As a result, the gopis have practically lost consciousness, feeling an unbearable longing throughout their bodies. Text 194. The restless eyes of the gopis of Vraja are very eager to drink the nectar of Krishna's beauty, which they relish as the most coveted of all of his wonderful possessions. So the gopis' eyes are trying to drink the nectar of Krishna's beauty, right? In Krishna's beauty, they say, they cherish his beauty as his most wonderful possession. Their eyes are filled with tears of ecstatic love for Sri Krishna. Text 195. Their braided hair has become loosened. Their braided hair has become loosened. Flowers that were used to decorate their hair have fallen to the ground, and bees are surrounding those flowers, hoping to drink their honey. The waistbands and golden threads on the waists of the gopis have become loosened, thereby exposing their beautiful hips. So they're becoming almost disheveled. The sight of Krishna is too much for them to bear. The lotus feet of the gopis are adorned with jeweled anklets. When they wander about Vrindavan with their dancing feet, a sweet sound emanates from their tinkling bells. Their lips tremble, their eyes are half closed, and their faces resemble lotus flowers. The ears of the gopis are decorated with brightly shining earrings. Text 197, 198. The tender leaf-like lips of the gopis appear dry and pale due to the hot breath emanating from their nostrils. The gopis are gathered around Krishna with various gifts in their lotus hands. Their lotus petal eyes have increased the beauty of their beloved Lord because they're the source of great pleasure to Sri Krishna. The bumblebee-like eyes of Sri Krishna have become intoxicated by the ecstatic love because they constantly relish the nectar from the enchanting lotus faces of the gopis. Sri Govinda looks glorious as he puts on a garland of lotus flowers in the form of the eyes of the all-attractive gopis. Text 199. Beyond the circles of gopis and gopas, cowherd girls and cowherd boys, and cows, are a host of demigods. So surrounding this whole scene, there's a host of devatas headed by Brahma, Shiva, and Indra, who desire material opulence. They stand before Sri Krishna and offer him select prayers. Text 200, 201. To Sri Krishna's right are those sages who faithfully follow religious principles and are engaged in studying the Vedas. To the back of Sri Krishna are the foremost of yogis, such as Sanaka. There are four of these yogis: Sanaka, Sanandana, Sanat Kumara, and Sanat, who absorb themselves in samadhi to achieve liberation from material bondage. To Krishna's left are the yakshas, siddhas, gandharvas, vidyadharas, charanas, and kinnaras. These are also other celestial beings, along with their wives. These celestial beings dance, sing, and play musical instruments to please Krishna in the hopes of obtaining fulfillment of their desires. Text 202. Thereafter, one should meditate on Narada Muni, the son of Brahma, as he stands at some distance from Sri Krishna. His complexion is white, like a conch shell, the moon, or a kunda flower. He is well versed in all aspects of the Vedic literature. The color of his matted hair is golden, like lightning. He is fully detached from thoughts of material enjoyment, and he always prays for unalloyed devotional service to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Text 203. Narada Muni has a stringed instrument called a Vena. He plays it very melodically, and thereby never fails to please Sri Krishna. Okay, so that is the end of that particular section. All those prayers come from the same source. Not exactly, did it say exactly, did it say in the beginning what the source was? Let's see. Let's just go back for a minute. It's all in the same meter. We don't exactly know where that, maybe in the purport, maybe in the commentary, Swami has mentioned where that's coming from, but we don't know exactly. So now we have another section of the meditation coming up from the Gautamiya Tantra. So text 204 to 209, this is coming from Gautamiya Tantra. And this is another mention of the Dhyana mantra. Now I shall describe the process of meditation that relieves one of all sinful reactions. So even just meditating on Krishna, even just meditating on the Lord with these slokas and getting the idea of Vrindavan, the scene of Krishna being surrounded by the cows and the calves and the cowherd boys and the gopis and all the devatas. This is going to relieve us of sinful reactions. Just this process of meditation. So he says, now I shall describe the process of meditation that relieves one of all sinful reactions. Sri Krishna's complexion is blackish, and he is dressed in yellow garments. His eyes are reddish, like the pink lotus flower. His palms, lotus feet, lips, and nails are also reddish. So we have those 5 parts of his body which are considered reddish: the eyes, the palms, the feet, the lips, and the nails. His form is the personification of all auspiciousness. His chest is illuminated by the effulgence emanating from the pearl necklace hanging around his neck, as well as the jewels of his ornaments, especially the Kostuba gem. His crown is bedecked with numerous jewels that also radiate a transcendental effulgence. He is decorated with a necklace, armlets, bangles, and earrings. The mark of Srivatsa is on his chest, and the beautiful anklets on his lotus feet enhance his beauty. He wears jeweled ornaments, a gorgeous waistband, and many rings. His head is bedecked with a peacock feather, and he is decorated with a garland of forest flowers and a garland of kadamba flowers. All in all, he appears like the blue sky, decorated with a full moon and a host of stars. Text 210. Sri Krishna holds his flute with his 2 lotus hands, and by playing it, he produces most enchanting melodies while tending the cows in the pastures. Text 211 to 216. Sri Krishna is surrounded by hundreds of exquisitely beautiful cowherd girls who have descended from the heavenly planets. He is full of auspicious attributes, and his beauty is most enchanting. He always engages in increasing the happiness of the cowherd men and women of Braja. The cows and calves surround him, licking his transcendental body. It's a sign of affection from the cows that they're licking his transcendental body. The siddhas, Gandharvas, Yakshas, Apsaras, birds, demigods, demons, all kinds of moving and non-moving living entities, Hanangas, beasts, and Vidyadharas gaze at him with feelings of awe and reverence. The most intelligent Narada Muni, Vishishta, Vishwamitra, Parashara, Vyasadeva, Bhrigu, Angira, Daksha, Shonaka, Atri, Kapila, and indeed all the best sages who reside in Brahmaloka, as well as countless other great personalities, have come and surrounded him on all sides. One should meditate on Sri Krishna in this manner throughout the day and the night. So this is the idea. Is this is a meditation which is not only for the worship in the day, but it can also be done at night for all time, for different times. So now we have a Sangshepta. Sangshepta means brief or contracted. Sangshepta Sri Sanat Kumar Kalpeyapi means that there's a book called Sanat Kumar Kalpa, which is about, Kalpa means rituals, and Sanat Kumar is the name of one of those sages who's a worshipper of the Lord. A brief description of this meditation is found in the Sanat Kumar Kalpa. Text 217. O son of Devaki, please protect us. Sri Krishna's complexion is blackish, like a fully blossomed cauliflower. His hair is decorated with a peacock feather, and the gopis offer him adoration with their lotus-like eyes. He is surrounded by the cows and cowherd boys. His smiling face appears just like a full moon. He is dressed in yellow garments. It is very difficult for all kinds of living entities to remain calm after hearing the sweet sound of his flute. So this is the meditation. This is the section on meditation. And now we come to a section. The next section, Bhakti Vilasa is going to describe worshipping the Lord within the mind. This is called Manasa Puja, Manasa Yaga. And here it's called Antaryaga. Antaryaga. Internal worship, which is done before we do the external puja. After meditating on Sri Hari in this way, one should offer to one's own, one should, according to one's own inclination, worship him within the mind after offering him prayers. So we should then worship after meditating, after conceiving of this land of Vrindavan, this wonderful land of Vrindavan where Lord Krishna is seated like the sun in the middle of a lotus on a jeweled throne. We should then think of him being surrounded by all the gopis and gopas and the cows and the different devatas and sages, and also the Vidyadharas and Gandharvas and all different living beings. And we should then offer to him that form in our meditation. We should offer worship to him, different forms of worship, all the different services of worship within our minds. So, text 218, it says, the ingredients for Bahya Puja, or external worship, or worshipping the Lord with formality, will be described later. These ingredients are also used in Manasa Puja, or worshipping the Lord within the mind according to one's inclination. So, he's going to talk about the actual different methods of worshipping the Lord externally, and one should learn about those things. And then within the mind, the Manasika Puja should be performed by mentally offering those services, those same services that we would offer externally. Right. So, Paratana Vidhi, the method of praying. This is text 220 coming from Narada Pancharatra. It says, O Keshava, O Lord of Lords, kindly appear according to your sweet will. I am prepared to worship you without duplicity. Please accept my Manasi Puja. Manasa Puja or Manasi Puja. So this is actually a prayer. O Lord Keshava, please appear within my mind, and I'm going to offer mental worship to you. And we see the word Swagatam is mentioned here. Swagatam is one of the different of the 16 or many different types of service or upacharas that we can offer to the deity. Swagatam is one of the first one. Sanidhya means come close. Sanidhal bhava. Right, so we're going to see these mantras used a little bit further on. Text 221. According to the procedure followed by his authorized sampradaya, one should prepare to worship Sri Krishna mentally with the paraphernalia of external worship. First, one should place the conch shell in its proper place. So, now we're going to be talking about establishing the articles of worship that we're going to use externally. It seems to be indicating here that we should do this before we do the Manasa Puja. Before we do it mentally, we should establish the external worship, articles of worship. The internal worship could be done before, it could be done after doing this. So, text 222, Ata Shanka Pratishta. Shanka Pratishta. Pratishta literally means to make, to stand somewhere, to make something stand in a particular place, to place something in a particular place, or make it stand properly. So this the process of placing the conch shell. The learning devotee should keep the conch shell on a 3-legged stand. So the conch shell sits on this conch shell is going to be used for bathing the Lord, for pouring water into the conch shell and bathing the Lord. So you can't seat it, put it directly on the ground because it will roll over. So it has to sit on a particular type of stand, and that stand should have 3 legs. And he should put that over to his left, on the left side. So he should chant. It says here in Sanskrit, Trayasya Mandalam. So you have to make a particular triangular shape pattern on the ground before you place the conch shell stand there, and then place the conch shell on top. And each time you should purify the stand and purify the conch itself. And you should chant Astraya Pat when you purify the stand. So you take the stand, take some water and sprinkle it on the stand, chanting Astraya Pat, and then place it on the triangular shape, mandala. And then one should also take the conch and do the same thing. When you place it on the stand, you will say Adara Shakti Namaha when you place the stand. And then you'll sprinkle on the conch and then again place it on the stand. And probably say Adara Shakti Namaha again. So Astraya Pat, Omadara Shakti Namaha, Omastraya Pat, Omadara Shakti Namaha. So we can take these mantras and use them generally whenever we sprinkle something. We can say Omastraya Pat. Whenever we place something, we can say Omadara Shakti Namaha.
Swami, I have a question about this triangular shape, pattern. Is this really like a triangle or double triangle, or like short corner, or?
We'd have to maybe look in the commentary and see exactly what's stated. Normally, I understand it to be, usually it's an inverted triangle. I don't know. Sometimes people describe it. Huh?
The tip of the triangle is pointing down,
right,
or up?
No, normally, yeah.
Okay.
But we have to look it up. So continuing on to text 223 after placing the conch shell, right? It says thereafter one should put sandalwood paste flowers, durva grass. It says here means durva grass. Again, the B substituted for the V. So durva grass and rice paddy inside the conch shell by chanting Hridayaya Namaha. Okay, so once again, when we sprinkle something before we place it, we say Adara Shakti Namaha, we say Astraya Pat, Om Astraya Pat, or Mahastraya Pat, or Viryaya Astraya Pat. Right, these are the mantras which are used in Pancharatra, and here in Hari Bhakti Vilasa, it just simply says Astraya Pat. We can say Om Astraya Pat. Om Astraya Pat, sprinkle something, purify it. Then place it, Om Adara Shakti Namaha. Then when we place something inside it, in its heart, we chant the heart mantra, which is Om Hridayaya Namaha. So any samagri or any type of, we've got these different things like the conch shell is going to be filled with water, and it's going to be used for bathing, or for offering arghya or whatever. And these other vessels that we put together for the external worship, are going to have different things placed in them. But when the things are placed in them, in the heart of them, we say Om Hridayaya Namaha. Okay, he should then fill the conch with water while chanting Mula mantras. Mula mantra means the Astadasa Chara Mantra Gopal mantra. So, Kum Krishna Govinda Gopijana Vallabhaya Swaha, fill it up, right? Along with each of the Matrika Varnas. Along with each of the Matrika Varnas. The Matrikas are the syllables of the alphabet. The letters or syllables of the alphabet. Ending with Sirse Swaha. Sirse Swaha is when we fill up with water, all these different containers, including the conch, we say Sirse Swaha. So once again, normal mantras for placing, for washing, placing, placing in the ingredients in and filling up with water are Om Astraya Pat for sprinkling, right? Om Adara Shakti Namaha for placing. Om Hridayaya Namaha for placing something inside, and Om Shirase Swaha for filling that up after placing the ingredients in, filling it up with water. Om Shirase Swaha. The Matrika Varnas are added. So, continue on with text 223 again. Thereafter, we put sandalwood paste and flowers and durva grass and rice paddy inside the conch shell while chanting Hridayaya Namaha. And then fill up the conch shell with water while chanting the Mula mantra, which is the Gopal mantra, along with each of the Matrika Varnas. And this will be explained a little bit more if we figure out exactly the prayoga of how to do it. We'll look in the commentary and it's explained some more about how to do that. Ending with Shirase Swaha. So Shirase Swaha is the mantra basically for filling up with water. Then continuing with text 224 to 228 with some more it's going to give some more details about this. And it says, then, while chanting Mam, one should worship Agni Dev as being present in the stand. So we're familiar with this. Om Mam, Vani Mandalaya, Dvarasa, is it? Dasakalatmani Namaha. I think Dasakalatmani Namaha. There are 10 colors to Agni. Then while chanting Am, he should worship Surya Dev, right? Om Am, Surya Mandalaya, Dwarasat Kalatmani Namaha, present in the conch shell. And while chanting Om, he should worship Chandra Dev, the god of the moon, right? While being present in the water. Om Soma Mandalaya, Sorasa Kalatmani Namaha, right? So we're very familiar with that, right? And there are some other details which are there in the commentary, which we're going to go through. After this, one should invoke the holy rivers by chanting the mantra beginning with Gange Cha Yamune. So Gange Cha Yamune Chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jale Smin Sanidim Kuru. Please be present, all you holy rivers, in this water in the conch shell. One should then display the Ankusha Mudra. The Ankusha Mudra is like a goad. The Ankusha is a metal, a stick with a metal piece on it that looks like a hook. A point and a hook. The point is for jabbing the elephant, and the hook is for sort of pulling on the elephant's ear, like that. That a Mahut, who is the controller of the elephant, uses to control the elephant. So with the right hand, if you want to form the Ankusha Mudra, you put two fingers, the two smaller fingers down, the little finger and the ring finger down. Touch that with the thumb. Cover that with the thumb. Leave the middle finger outstretched, and then at a 90-degree angle, hold the index finger. So it forms this thing. And then you can touch on top of the water without touching the nail, and you can even stir if you like clockwise. But you can just hold it there close to the water and say this mantra, this sloka, to call the holy rivers into the water. One should then display the Ankusha Mudra while invoking the holy rivers from the sun into the water. Okay, so somehow or other we consider that the holy rivers are there somehow in the Surya Mandala, right, which is the sun globe. Next, one should invite Sri Govinda to appear from his lotus-like heart while displaying the Galangi Mudra and chanting Shikaya Vashati. Right? So we've got we're starting to use these mantras which are used in the Saranganyasa. Priya Namaha, Sirse Swaha, Shikaya Vasate, Kavachaya Hum, Netrabhyam Voshate, like that. So these are some of the mantras that you use in Saranganyasa. So we're going to use those. And we're going to show the specific mudras along with those mantras. So next one should invite Sri Govinda to appear from the lotus-like heart, from the lotus of his heart. So we've already meditated upon the Lord, Sri Govinda, in our heart, right? Which was what the meditation was about. While displaying the Galangi Mudra and chanting Shikaya Vashate. After that, one should look into the water while chanting Netrabhyam Voshate, right? Which is the netra or the eye mantra, right? And cover the water with both hands while chanting Kavachaya Hum. Then the nyasa should be performed on the water while chanting the Mula mantra. Okay, so we're chanting the Mula mantra, which is the Gopal, 18-syllable Gopal mantra, and then we're saying the different things by doing the Saranganyasa on the water, because first of all, after we call Krishna there, then we're going to perform Saranganyasa, which is Hridaya Namaha Sirse Swaha Sikaya Vasate Kavachaya Hum Netrabhyam Vosate Astraya Pate. Right? This is the Saranganyasa. Right. The water should be transformed into nectar by purifying all directions while chanting the Astra Mantra. Right? So the Astra Mantra again, Astraya Pate. Right? And or it could be the same Astra Mantra that we used before, Om Namo Sudoshanaya Astraya Pate. And we have to look in the commentary and see maybe. But normally it's probably just Om Astraya Pate, displaying the Venu Mudra. Now the Venu Mudra, there's a couple of different mudras called the Venu Mudra. One is called Venu Mudra, one is called Surabi Mudra. They both represent the udder or the milk bag of a cow, which showers nectar on the thing after that you place the mudra over. So the mudra can usually be done like this, by twisting the fingers and touching the thumb at the same time, like that. So you have 5 points, four points of the udder, like that, at the right of the cow, and placing that over the item. There's another way to do it, right, which is sometimes called Surabi, right? Surabi Mudra, in which the three sets of fingers are kept up like that. The middle finger of each hand is touching, and the ring fingers of each hand are folded down like that. And the little fingers, middle fingers, and index fingers and thumbs are kept together. That's another way of doing it, placing it over the top. Right, so sometimes these are alternatively called Venu Mudra and Surabi Mudra. Here we have the mention of Venu Mudra. Probably in the commentary by Sananda Goswami, he explains exactly in Sanskrit how to perform this mudra. But anyway, I showed you 2 different ways just then. One should then mix sandalwood paste with water, which is called ganda, and chant the Amrita Bij 12 times. The Amrita Bij, again, would be Vam, right, which is Vam, I think Vam, or there might be another, I'm not sure. We'll have to look in the commentary, but I think Vam 12 times, followed by once again chanting the mantra Soma Mandalaya Shodasikalatmani Namaha. So again, Soma Mandala means the mandala of the moon, and from the nectar comes from the mandala of the moon. So the idea is that we are creating nectar here in the water and the conch shell. It's interesting. So so afterwards one should protect the water by showing the Chakra Mudra. Chakra Mudra can be shown like this, with 2 palms together with the fingers outspread, or it can be even with the palms placed like this, together with the fingers spread, but the palms not touching, either touching or not touching, right? And that is the Chakra Mudra. The Chakra Mudra is for protection. And there might be an accompanying mantra to go along with that, but we don't know. It doesn't say it. It says simply display the mudra and then cover with the Matsya Mudra. Matsya Mudra is another mudra where we have 2 hands on top, right hand on top of left, and both with the palms down. Finally, one should hold the conch shell touch the water with a bunch of kusha grass. So we should take what's called a purcha, which is a bunch of kusha grass tied in the Brahma Granthi. And we should touch the water with a bunch of kusha grass and then chant the Mula mantra 8 times over the water. So this is how we prepare the conch for the use. Continuing with text 229, and there's obviously more details, a little bit more details in the commentary, which we can go through. One should save a portion of the water in a separate pot for washing his hands. So it seems like what we're doing is we're going to pour this water out, and we're going to use this water for different things. And then while the rest should be sprinkled on the ingredients for worship on one's body 3 times. So what we've done is we've invoked Krishna into the water of the conch. So Krishna is there in the water of the conch, and then we've made this water in the conch as much nectar as possible with different rituals, and then we're going to sprinkle it on our body to purify the body, and also on all the ingredients, the other ingredients, external ingredients that we're going to use in the puja. We're going to do that 3 times, and it's not mentioned here if we chant in the mantra while we do that. And then we're going to keep the rest of that water in a separate patra, in a separate pot, in case we need during the time when we're worshiping the deity, in case we need to wash our hands. So, for instance, we might touch something, we might itch or touch our face, or we might touch something, and we need to wash our hands again. So then at the side we can have this water with a spoon, perhaps in the water, and we can take some of that water and we can wash our hands again and purify our hands. Okay, so continuing on with text 230 and 231. One should display a mudra by placing the little fingers and thumbs of both hands together, the little fingers and thumbs of both hands together, then while combining the other fingers of both hands and bending them a little so that the tips of the fingers of both hands are joined. Okay. One should exhibit this mudra over the conch shell. Okay, so if we have a look, let's have a look at the Sanskrit, and let's see. I think this is the example of the Galangi Mudra. This is explaining about the Galangi Mudra. Galangi Prokta, right? And the term Galangi means, I'm not exactly sure what Galangi means. Okay, anyway. One should display a mudra by placing the little fingers and the thumbs of both hands together while combining the other fingers of both hands. And bending them a little so that the tips, so like that, let's say, so the tips of both fingers are joined. Okay, not sure if that's correct. So, right, then one should discard the rest of the water. One should exhibit this over the conch shell. Then one should discard the rest of the water of the conch shell and fill it up with fresh water and place it before Sri Hari. Okay, so after performing all this, this is the procedure. This is the procedure that is followed by the devotees. Okay, so this is in the end of that section of the establishment of the conch shell. And I'm not sure that it mentions establishment of other items, but if you have other patras or other vessels containing different things, you can install them in a similar way, but not as in as complex a way as the conch shell. The conch shell, for some reason, is installed in a specific way. Here it says now, text 232, Ata Swadeha Pita Puja. Pita Puja again means the place where the Lord sits, or the altar, or the asana, like that, is called the pitam. And swadeha means within the body, within one's body. So within one's body, one meditates on the Lord within the heart. And the Lord within the heart is sitting on a pedestal, and that pedestal within the heart is the puja of that is performed. So this is again, this is what we call the Manasa Puja, like that. So thereafter, one should worship his spiritual master as he is situated in his head, and Ganesha is situated in the Muladhara chakra. So the guru is situated within the head, right? Yeah, I'm not sure if there's it doesn't exactly say if there's a chakra for the guru, but the guru is there within the head. And Lord Ganesha is meditated upon as being within the Muladhara chakra. One should worship various personalities at various parts of the body with water, sandalwood paste, incense, and other articles. Now, it's not clear exactly here whether that's done externally or internally. Probably this is done internally, right? And by meditation. So one meditates upon worshiping these different personalities in different parts of the body. Okay, thereafter, one should worship his spiritual master as he's situated in his head. In the purport, he says, Om Guru Pyo Namaha is the mantra to use there. And Ganesh, who is situated in the Muladhara chakra at the base of the spine with Gam Ganapataye Namaha is the mantra to worship him. One should then worship various personalities in the various parts of the body. What it is this is Pita Puja starting with Omadara Shakti Namaha. And there's a set of mantras which we'll go through when we talk of the Prayoga. With water, sandalwood paste, incense, flowers, and other articles. So, text 233 is talking about the performance of nyasa on the body of the Supreme Lord. So now, after we've done that Pita Puja within the body, within our own bodies, now and worship the Lord as he appears within our heart, then we're going to worship externally, we're going to worship the deity. So we're going to do the mantra nyasa on the deity's body, the external deity's body. So then while chanting the bija mantra, which means the klim bij, here it says tato japan kama bijam, right? Again, bijam is bijam, right? Tristanastam paramaha mula mantrenatmakam bijena eki bhutam vichintayet. Okay, so then while chanting the bija mantra clean, one should merge the bright shining effulgence of the Muladhara chakra and the heart between the eyebrows.